Well, hello. It's been a long time since we've seen each other. That wasn't part of the plan, we know, but I'm excited to read to you today. I've been reading Kate DiCamilo's books, some of the new ones that she's put out, and I know you all remember her from The Tale of Despereaux and Edward Tulane that we read this year, but also some of you had said you read um, Winn-Dixie last year with your teacher. I'll be reading to you from the one I got that was part of the little series. It's called Raymie Nightingale, and you might have seen my post about me reading this one. Since that book, I read the second one in the series, and that's Louisiana's Way Home, and the third one in the series, which is Beverly Right Here. And I think you'll all really enjoy meeting these girls and the relationship that they have with one another. First chapter starts like this. Now, each day I'll try to read about 2 chapters, so just stick with me. They'll be on our page where you can go back to them if you miss one, and hopefully we can all get to know Kate DiCamilo a little bit more with this story. So, chapter 1. There were 3 of them, 3 girls. They were standing side by side. They were standing at attention. And then the girl in the pink dress, the one who was standing right next to Raymie, let out a sob and said, "The more I think about it, the more terrified I am. I am too terrified to go on." The girl clutched her baton to her chest and dropped to her knees. Raymie stared at her in wonder and admiration. She herself often felt too terrified to go on, but she had never admitted it out loud. The girl in the pink dress moaned and toppled over sideways. Her eyes fluttered closed. She was silent, and then she opened her eyes very wide and shouted, "Archie, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I betrayed you." She closed her eyes again. Her mouth fell open. Raymie had never seen or heard anything like it. "I'm sorry," Raymie whispered. "I betrayed you." For some reason the words seemed worth repeating. "Stop this nonsense immediately," said Ida Nee. Ida Nee was the baton-twirling instructor. Even though she was old, over 50 at least, her hair was an extremely bright yellow. She wore white boots that came all the way up to her knees. "I'm not kidding," said Ida Nee. Raymie believed her. Ida Nee didn't seem like that much of a kidder. The sun was way, way up in the sky, and the whole thing was like high noon in a western. But it was not a western. It was baton-twirling lessons at Ida Nee's house in Ida Nee's backyard. It was the summer of 1975. It was the 5th day of June, and 2 days before, on the 3rd day of June, Raymie Clark's father had run away from home with a woman who was a dental hygienist. "Hey, diddle diddle, the dish ran away with the spoon." Those were the words that went through Raymie's head every time she thought about her father and the dental hygienist. But she did not say the words out loud any more because Raymie's mother was very upset, and talking about dishes and spoons running away together was not appropriate. It was actually a great tragedy what had happened. That was what Raymie's mother said. "This is a great tragedy," said Raymie's mother. "Quit reciting nursery rhymes." It was a great tragedy because Raymie's father had disgraced himself. It was also a great tragedy because Raymie was now fatherless. The thought of that, the fact of it, that she, Raymie Clark, was without a father, made a small, sharp pain shoot through Raymie's heart every time she considered it. Sometimes the pain in her heart made her feel too terrified to go on. Sometimes it made her want to drop to her knees, but then she would remember that she had a plan. Chapter 2. "Get up," said Ida Nee to the girl in the pink dress. "She fainted," said the other baton-twirling student, a girl named Beverly Topinski, whose father was a cop. Raymie knew the girl's name and what her father did because Beverly had made an announcement at the beginning of the lesson. She had stared straight ahead, not looking at anybody in particular, and said, "My name is Beverly Topinski, and my father is a cop, so I don't think that you should mess with me." Raymie, for one, had no intention of messing with her. "I've seen a lot of people faint," said Beverly now. "That's what happens when you're the daughter of a cop. You see everything. You see it all." "Shut up, Topinski," said Ida Nee. The sun was very high in the sky. It hadn't moved. It seemed like someone had stuck it up there and then walked away and left it. "I'm sorry," whispered Raymie. "I betrayed you." Beverly Topinski knelt down and put her hands on either side of the fainting girl's face. "What do you think you're doing?" said Ida Nee. The pine trees above them swayed back and forth. The lake, Lake Clara, where someone named Clara Wingtip had managed to drown herself 100 years ago, gleamed and glittered. The lake looked hungry. Maybe it was hoping for another Clara Wingtip. Raymie felt a wave of despair. There wasn't time for people fainting. She had to learn how to twirl a baton, and she had to learn fast, because if she learned how to twirl a baton, then she stood a good chance of becoming Little Miss Central Florida Tire. And if she became Little Miss Central Florida Tire, her father would see her picture in the paper and come home. That was Raymie's plan. Stay tuned for what happens next.